How's it going, guys? I get asked a lot about which capture software I use and which software is best for those looking to make their own channel. I figured now would be a good opportunity to showcase what I'm using and give you a tutorial on how this software works. Right now I'm using a piece of software called MovAvi Game Capture, which in my opinion is perhaps the easiest capture software I've ever used. It's certainly the first I've ever used that works with no issues the first time I loaded it up and without changing any of the settings. Now, if you want to check it out for yourself, head over to this URL. I'll just load up a second. It's movavi.com/game-capture, and go ahead and click this little download button to download your free trial. Just click, nice and simple. Now, once you have your executable, just go ahead and run it. Now, go ahead and install the exe. Now, you will need admin credentials, so make sure you have those before you start. Now, I can't actually install it myself because it's already running on the machine and you can't install a program. You know, well, obviously it's already installed, so you can't install it, but also it's running at the same time, so it wouldn't even allow me to entertain that notion. But I'm sure you guys can figure that one out. Now, while you're installing, if you have your product key, make sure to enter it once it's installed. If you haven't got a product key and you wish to trial the software, then just select the trial option and it's nice and easy. It's not very complicated to install. I'm sure you guys can figure that one out. Now, once it's installed and you've booted it up, you'll have something that looks like this. Now, this is currently recording as I'm speaking. It's a very simple piece of software to use, actually. You can either hit F10, or you can select this little button up here, which will start the recording. Now, this has got a nice little feature, in fact. You can either hit F10 to start recording, or you can hit this little button here, which will start recording for you. But it has a nice little feature that if you select the capture mode for gaming, you can hit the record button, then load up the game, and it will start recording once the game boots up. It's nice and simple like that, isn't it? Now, it's broken down to two little sections. You've got your capture and you've got your video. So your video here, you can change all the different settings. It's actually quite simple, and I like that, actually, in a recorder. You've got the resolution settings, so you can set it to original. There's I can't actually click it down now because, again, I am recording. You can select the different resolution types. So, like, you can stick to the original, so it records exactly as it is, how you see it. So you've got your frame rate option as well. Now, I'm recording at 60 frames per second. Of course, you can set it down to 30. You can do it even lower if you want to. It's completely up to you, whatever your machine can handle. And the advantage being that this software will kind of scale down to whatever machine you're using. So if you're using an older machine or a new fancy machine, you can set your settings to exactly what you want to do. Now, my video recording quality, I've set it to the dead middle. I've got it on just halfway between smaller size and better quality. Of course, I can scale that up if I want to get that better resolution, better bit rate, better recording state. Or I can even scale that down if the computer's struggling a little bit. But I've just gone for the dead center to kind of showcase what it's going. And I think you'll agree that it's good enough, you know. We don't need to scale that up. Of course, we can do if you want to, but I find it's perfect. I don't really need to fiddle with that one at all. And of course, we can go back up to capture. We can set the microphone on there. We can set it to whatever we want. Now, I've got it set to the default Windows one. That's fine. We can also add in the webcam as well. So if we want to pop the webcam on there, we can reposition it any way we want to, just like any other recording software. It's nice and easy. It takes care of it all for you. I can't get over how simple this software is to use. Now, I've actually just switched recorder so I can actually show you some of the features of this software because I can't go into the settings while it's recording. Now, there is actually two capture modes. We can actually capture the desktop, or we can capture the game. Now, I normally use the game one, and what you do is just you load up the game, you hit F10, and it starts recording. It's nice and simple. No, it doesn't have to go any extra prompts and stuff like that. It just does the job. No messing about. Okay, so that's what I do. We can also go into like I said before, the webcam. We can go into the settings here. Wait for my webcam to just boot up a second. It is a little bit slow, my webcam. But here we go. How's it going, guys? Woo! And of course, we can change the settings. We can select the different input devices. I've got the HTC Vive there, and we've got XSplit Broadcast, which is what I'm using to actually record this as we speak. Because like I said, I can't actually record the settings. We can go into resolutions. So we can actually scale that up to something quite large, in fact. Oh, there we go. See? Oh, higher resolution. It handles it quite nicely as well. I found that there's very little slowdown on that one. And of course, we can update the frame rate as well. My webcam doesn't support any frame rate higher than 30, so that's why it's only saying 30 frames per second. And of course, we can edit the position of it. It's nice and simple. We don't have to fanny around with the positioning of the software and stuff like that. So it's very nice that it takes care of everything for you. So anyway, let's go back onto this. Right. Of course, very standard settings. You can change the languages. there's some languages, guys. If you recognise your language, then fair play. But unfortunately, I don't know what those languages are. Oh dear me. Of course, automatically sets up. These are all like your standard stuff. You don't really need to know about this. And of course, I've set my recording. This is a good tip for you guys as well. I always record to a separate drive from what I'm playing on. So my recording drive is D. So I set all my game files to drive D. So then that hard drive there is busy working away, saving those files, and it doesn't cause any slowdown then while I'm playing the game, or while I'm using the software and stuff like that. So that's what I've done. It's very easy to do that as well. You save the screenshots as well. Keyboard shortcuts, you can map those. Again, this is very simple stuff. One thing with a popular one, OBS, I find that it was very difficult to set up, and a lot of the key maps were mapped to other programs and stuff like that. So I ended up spending sometimes hours just trying to set that up, find the perfect bit rates, find the keyboard shortcuts that won't be used and stuff like that. This is not a problem I've come up against with this one, so it's great. Your overlays, of course, you can. This is quite nice actually. You can set your frame rate, your bit count, the space left on the disc, and this is something that I found was really interesting that I've not seen in another one. Is actually the space left on the disc. It gives you the file size of what you're recording and how much is left on the disk space. So if you're coming up to running out of space, then it will let you know beforehand. It won't just crap out on you. And that's something I've had in the past. Is these these recording software, sorry, they tend to just run up all your hard drive space, and then don't give you any indication as to how much space is left, and then you end up running out of space. The recording gets messed up. You're out of the loop. I've even had a computer crash during this one because all the space on the hard drive is completely used up, and then you just the computer gives up. It's nope, not doing it anymore. So there's a really nice little feature that I think should definitely be incorporated on every piece of software going forward. But these guys, they beat them to the punch, and that's great. And of course, yeah, like I said, the recording file size, so you don't have to be too worried about this is taking up so many gigabytes or whatever space. And of course, your video quality and this is your audio quality. There we go. We can just set it to whatever you want. I'm happy with just going with a 16-bit, 44 kilohertz. I think I've never really had any problem with my audio, and I think it just it doesn't need to be studio quality, but it's nice that it comes out decent. We can do it, and you can enable, this came enabled by default, but I tend to turn off the GPU acceleration just as a kind of a personal preference for me anyway. But that's just me. And of course the webcam goes, we've seen before. So, and of course we get down to the video, and we can change this. So you can actually scale up your resolution if you want to, which I find is I tend to scale up a lot of stuff, but the resolution I tend to keep as the original. And of course your frame rates and everything, we've seen this before. We can slide this up and down. I just tend to go for the standard, your default. And it's nice that it has just this one little window, and then we can click on this little file option here, and it opens up all our game files, so we can see everything we've recorded. That's the one I just recorded here, so that's a bit of inception there, because that's the file that I'm using to record this episode for. Anyway, and this is the Cuphead gameplay I recorded the other day as well, it was perfect. It was really nice to be able to use a piece of software that just kind of worked straight off the bat, and I didn't have to mess around with. It's in three files though, because yeah, I had a few interruptions during recording there, but I got it done. It was quite fun. Anyway, let's close that down. So yeah, check this software out. I highly recommend it. The link is in the description, so check that out and download it, install it for a free trial, and if you like it, then it's cheap as chips. It's actually one of the more affordable pieces of software, and it's a lifetime license as well. So I highly recommend checking that out. I hope this video has been of some use to you if you're looking to start up a new channel, or if you're just curious, in fact. Hit me up if you want to see more videos like this. I'll be more than happy to produce them. One last thing, I actually use this software to do the last Cuphead recording, like I said just before. But if you want to actually see this software in use, like in the wild, so to speak, be sure to check that video out. That link is also in the description. But as always, thanks for watching, hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao!